It is John Pollock alongside John Ramdeen and Robin Black. And UFC 206, it's not only got a new main event. Guys, we have a new title in the family.
The Grey Cup? Are they fighting for the Grey Cup?
It is actually, the Argonauts are going to be playing for the Interim Grey Cup next week, I believe. That is according to UFC Matchmaking.
How confusing, because isn't there a champion right now? I know Conor has given up his title, which means that Jose...
Robin's going to do a breakdown of the featherweight division with graphs, and this is the regular champion. These are the two fractured versions of the interim title, one of which that has merged to become the real title.
Man.
I think at the end of the day, let me ask you guys this, to just the average person out there that just sees title fight. Is this a difference maker? Was this such a necessity?
So. Believe it or not, because I've been having these conversations. For us, it makes no sense. But as soon as you attach a title to a fight, people believe you're going to see something other than maybe what you were going to see before, and it has more meaning. Does this fight really have any more meaning?
I think, Robin, people were getting this card or they weren't. If you weren't enamored with Anthony Pettis, Max Holloway, I don't know what to tell you, but having an interim title attached to it to me makes zero difference at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
And two more rounds. Sorry to cut you off. So how would that, the fight's coming up in 2 weeks, so the UFC says you guys have to get ready for 2 more rounds. Does that make a difference in the training?
Yes, but I think the biggest thing you think to yourself is, what kind of shape am I in? Oh, I'm in crazy shape? I'm in better shape than him. Whatever it's going to do to me, it's worse for him. If that's your mindset, then you both accept it. You both go into it. I mean, with 2 weeks to go, you can't really add anything. You can push your cardio a little harder. You can add a few more sprints in the last week, but it's really not going to make a lot of difference. It's a mindset thing, and both of these guys are really driven right now. Anthony Pettis has been a spectacular fighter for his entire career, but he's never really looked better from a psychological standpoint than he did against Charles Oliveira. The guy just showed up and said, I'll fight you. You know, he didn't get precious about anything. He didn't outthink you. He didn't even really set any traps, which is something, he just fucking fought him. You know, like just got in there and fought him. And that is something, when Anthony Pettis can fight like that, that's a scary thing. And then Max Holloway, like the last 20 seconds against Lamas,
awesome.
I don't know what he was doing in there, but it was pretty fun.
Do you think we're at a point, though, where, and this is a routine thing, like when they instituted 5-round main events, for all main events, regardless of titles or not, they stated that if it was a late injury, they would remain 3 rounds. But that has not been the case. That wasn't the case for Robert Whittaker and Derek Brunson this past weekend. It's now for Pettis and Holloway, they also have to now go 5 rounds. I can understand the fighter's mentality. They're in the midst of camp. You can throw anything at them. They're willing to do it. But should we expect that of them? Because it's kind of a one-way street where, okay, we want you guys to now be a 5-round fight. We're not paying you any different. Right. You were preparing for, John, you were going to come to work today and do a 1-hour show. Well, now you're doing a 2-hour show.
I know.
We do that all the time.
No, I understand. But nobody's trying to kick me in the head.
I'm trying to kick you in the head.
We've talked to a lot of fighters, and they're not fans of this at all. It doesn't make any sense. A, they're not getting any more money, and
they want to be at their best for a 5-round fight. And can they do it? Sure, but this is not what their camp has been tailored around. It has been around 15 hard minutes, and now this is a major curveball when 80% of your camp is done.
I will guarantee you, if the agent or manager is on the phone, it's like, absolutely not. We're not doing it. Now, what might come back is they say, okay, then you guys will stay the co-main. These guys want to be the showcase fight, especially these two right now. Pettis is on a level that he's never been on, and Holloway has been on that level for a couple of years now. This really is a fantastic fight.
And then you add the belt to that.
Then you add the belt to that. That'll mean more to them, and it'll mean more to someone. I mean...
But it's a #1 contender belt. It should say #1 contender and have a contract with it. That's all this is.
Yeah, but at least it maps things out. Like I can understand from everybody's standpoint. It's like, okay, this doesn't make sense. However, like Robin said, if their agent or their manager says, hey, look, it's not ideal. It's 2 extra rounds, but you get the title. We'll give you whatever extra money or a bonus, and then on top of that, you get your chance at Jose Aldo for the actual 145-pound
speculation, but you're on the phone. It's like, no way, we're doing 5 rounds. Well, what if we make it for the interim title? 100%. Anthony will now be a 2-division champion if we do it. You know, I can see that for sure.
In terms of this actual fight, I mean, does this change any of the dynamics of the fight, the fact that this is 5 rounds?
No, I just love this.
Holloway's like 12 years old, right? Like, isn't he like 6 years old? He's like a kid, right? This guy can fight for 30 rounds.
I think Pettis can
and Pettis can too. At 145 pounds, the amount of work he has to do on his energy systems to make that weight, that's a byproduct of him fighting at 145, is all the work he's forced to do to get down and cut the fat. And it's not just, you can't just dehydrate that extra weight, you've got to cut it. You cut it through cardiovascular exercise, which gives you the byproduct of being in better shape.
We also, I mean, that's what solidified this as a main event was also Anthony Johnson's decision to wait for the Daniel Cormier fight, which I completely agree with him. I think just taking a new opponent on 2 weeks' notice.
Mousasi was one of the names?
That was one of the names floated at him. I don't.
Wait, that's the official title too, right? The 205, the light heavyweight.
No, they would have added an interim title because, I mean, the interim belt just got
would it have been
off John
Mousasi?
Jones. You can move it on to here.
Would it have been Mousasi versus AJ for the interim belt?
Yeah.
Now, as much as we're having fun with this, yeah, it may be nothing. It may just be, it's something you can use to get a few more pay-per-views. Maybe it doesn't mean anything. But if we look back at the history of boxing, more belts meant more confusion, which meant less commitment and less attachment.
Like, imagine talking to someone, Robin, who's going to their first UFC event. They don't follow this every week. Explain what this title is, and in comparison, where they feel maybe this is a meaningful title, but they actually learn this actually means nothing in the grand scheme of things. I think it is confusing when you're throwing all these titles, and I think you kind of look at your audience with not enough credit, the fact that you could just put a 5-round fight between these two, or hell, a 3-round fight that they signed up for. And I think you're getting the same result on pay-per-view of the same amount of people are buying this, and it's going to be your hardcores buying this show.
Yeah, I agree. And all you had to say was the winner of the 3-round fight between Holloway and Pettis will face Jose Aldo.
Those are stakes
title.
right there.
Yeah, but I think honestly, you look at the plus minus. This is how these people do business, and any business. It's Walmart or like McDonald's. It's all the same. The plus is maybe we'll get a couple more pay-per-views. Anthony is excited for a second belt, and Holloway will be a champion. And the minus is 3 dorks sitting at a table say a couple of things that makes none of the hardcores not buy it. So we add a few, and then the hardcores, they talk about it more. Somebody's going to click on this video and go, what are these dorks saying about it? Which will get people talking about UFC 206. Nothing but upside.
All right, well, you can go to McDonald's, you can pick up your interim Big Mac, which is not the real Big Mac.
Still tasty.
Because that Big Mac has vacated the title, and now it is going to be contested.
I'm still watching, though. UFC 206, I'm watching.
I'm getting a Big Mac.
Cowboy, Holloway, so many great fighters.
Big Macs are tasty.
UFC 206 for the interim title, December the 10th.